Today's word is active learning. Active learning is when each and every student, whether present in the classroom or learning remotely, is totally engaged in carrying out incremental learning experiences that make sense to them. And they are assisted, of course, by the teachers in connecting these experiences to a whole concept that meets learning expectations for each grade level or course. Today, we're going to work on reported speech and direct speech using if and whether. This is lesson 3 out of 6 in a series. This lesson can be used with Mega Goal 6, Traveler 6, and Flying High 6. The lesson uses the following color code. Before you start learning, do it alone and check, and test yourself. So, as we said, this lesson will focus on using indirect speech for questions using whether or if. Since we have already spoken about this in the video 1 out of 6, we're just going to put it up and not talk about it. But if you'd like to see more of it, you can go back to the first one. So before you start, we're going to put 4 sets of sentences. Each pair means the same. We want the students to mark the changes they see in the second pair of sentences, second pair of sentence. As you know from the slide before, this is called heightening the attention, code switching, sense of direction, and everybody can take the challenge in the classroom, whether their level of English is higher or lower. So here's the first one. Does he like gossip? So it's a question they asked. They asked if he liked gossip. 2, are you living in Dubai? They asked me. They asked me if I was living in Dubai. Abir and Khulud asked, are you going to the mall? Abir and Khulud asked whether we were going to the mall. Do you have a new car? Ibrahim asked Ahmed. Ibrahim asked Ahmed whether he had a new car. So we're going to give the students some time to check each of the pair and then mark the differences that they see in the second one in each pair. Now, you can put that one set at a time, or if your students really know how to manage themselves, you can put all 4 sets. So when they finish, we're going to look at something today called incremental learning experience. As we mentioned earlier in the previous slide, learning has to be a series of experiences that come together. When we explain or lecture, that doesn't mean that a person learning is getting full experience. Some of the students might, but most will be unable to make the connection by themselves. That's why a lesson plan or a lesson is a set of incremental learning experiences that are designed by the educator. So here, what are the changes in the second sentence of the pair? Let's check. There is no period or punctuation here. Oh, look, we added the word if, which was not on the first one. There is no quotation mark. He is not capitalized. And like has been changed to like, and there is no quotation mark at the end. Remember, in lesson 1 out of 6, we focused on the mechanics, the capitalization and punctuation. In the second lesson, we focused on the noun clause in the reported speech. In this lesson, we're going to focus on the question, the direct question, and how we report it with if and whether, more common. So these are the exact words that they said. Does he like gossip? These are the exact words. And these are not the exact words if he liked gossip. Let's look at the second one. Are you living in Dubai? No period or punctuation, added the if, no quotation mark. We changed the you to I, and I is capitalized. The R has been changed to was. There is no quotation mark at the end. And the exact words of the question were, are you living in Dubai? And not the exact words are, if I was living in Dubai. Let's look at the third one. Abir and Khulud asked, are you going to the mall? Abir and Khulud asked whether we were going to the mall. And again, no comma or punctuation. We added whether. We did not put quotation marks. We changed the you to we, and the we is not capitalized. The R has been changed to were, and there is no quotation mark at the end. And of course, the exact words that Abir and Khulud asked, are you going to the mall? And not the exact words are, whether we were going to the mall. And set number 4 now. What are the changes in the second sentence of the pair? Let's check. No comma or period after Ahmed. We added whether. No quotation marks. We changed the you to he, and we changed the have to had, and there is no quotation mark at the end. And the exact words that Ibrahim asked, do you have a car? And not the exact words, whether he had a new car. Those are not the exact words. So this is the first experience that we're taking the students to. They have noticed all these changes. If you cannot notice all these changes, it will not prime you for subsequent tasks. So let's look at the connecting or the sum up. When the exact question words someone asked can be replied to with a yes or no, then the reported noun clause should start with whether or if. Now, whether or if are the same meaning basically, but we would use whether if the situation is more formal, and we would use if the situation is friendlier. So this is what we did. Do you have a new car? Ibrahim asked Ahmed. What would we expect Ahmed to say? Yes or no? Ibrahim asked Ahmed whether he had a new car. So notice that is not a question, and it's not said with a question intonation. So this is the sum up. Exact words, do you have a new car? The answer is yes or no, and it could be yes, it could be a no, yes. And the reported noun clause is whether he had a new car. And we can use whether or if. Notice, Ibrahim asked Ahmed whether he had a new car. Ibrahim asked Ahmed if he had a new car. Now we're going to give the students some opportunities to experience this by themselves. And again, as we mentioned in 1 out of 6 and 2 out of 6 of this series, we do not wait till the end. What we do in the incremental learning or incremental experiences learning is once we finish one, we give them the chance to try it out before we move to another one. So by doing this, it helps them build or construct experience into a concept and connect them. So here's these are the instructions. Circle the reporter, underline what the reporter asked, right next to the sentence exact words or not exact words. You might think that this is kind of a low level, but you'd be surprised at how many people just see words or focus on a word rather than on the whole thing together. So after they finish this, and we give them some time to do it, you as a teacher, whether you're doing this in the classroom or from a remote area, you want them to check their answers. Now, they can check their answers with each other if they're in the classroom, or if you have the facilities to put students in groups in a room using technology, you would want them to tell each other what they got and what they missed. And by the way, students can learn more from each other in a few minutes than they can from a teacher in 20 minutes. So let's check our answers. They asked whether he liked gossip, not the exact words. Musad asked me if I wanted to see a movie, not the exact words. Are you going to the supermarket? Maha asked me, exact words. What is your son studying at university? Khalid asked, exact words. The students asked if they can help clean their school, not exact words. Where are you going? Fatma asked her daughter, exact words. Now let's go to the second set of incremental learning experience. Let's go to the green box at the top. The subject or the who in a quote can refer to the reporter or to someone else. Now, we have done that in 2 out of 6, but it's very important now to do it again when it's a question rather than a clause or a direct sentence. Musad asked me, do you want to see a movie? Musad is the reporter, is the person asking. You is the subject of the direct quote. Those are his exact words. And the you in do you want to see a movie is the who or the subject of that question. The you has to refer to somebody. Now we only see 2 people, Musad and me. You in this case refers to the word me, not to Musad. So do you want, you is the me. The direct or the exact question words are, do you want to see a movie? Now let's change that to reported speech. Musad asked me if we can put whether, but the difference is whether the situation calls for formal or less formal. So if we see an if, we start to comprehend that the relationship is friendly. If we see the word whether, we can assume that the relationship is a little bit more formal, but there is absolutely no reason not to use both. But try, if you're using whether or if, to think. If a native speaker is speaking, he would use or she would use whether when it's a little bit more formal, and if when it's a little bit less formal. The you has been changed to I. Want has been changed to wanted. To see a movie is the same. And what we have here is indirect using if or whether. Musad asked me if I wanted to see a movie. Let's try this again. Are you going to the mall? Abir asked, and Khulud asked us. So we've got here the people speaking or asking or reporting, Abir and Khulud. Those are their exact words. Are you going to the mall? And the subject of are you going to the mall is you. So our job in comprehension is our minds has to refer the you to someone. Is it Abir and Khulud or is it us? So let's check. Are you going to the mall? If Abir and Khulud are saying you, they don't mean themselves. They mean the person that they're asking. And in this case, who are they asking? They're asking us. So you refers to the word us and not to Abir and Khulud. Let's change that to reported speech. Abir and Khulud asked us whether or if. Now, since we are speaking and we asked us, so we are the people talking now, the us becomes we. Are has changed to were going to the mall. So Abir and Khulud asked us whether we were going to the mall. And remember, in the second the second lesson, 2 out of 6, the one before this one, was a lesson on how these verbs are sequenced after they follow the main verb, which is asked. Let's try now to do it alone. Here are our instructions. So we've given the students some incremental experiences, and now we're going to say, well, let's see if you can do it alone. Highlight the direct quote in green. Now, slowing the process for the students helps them think something through. It's visible thinking. And when we look at their work, we can tell why they might not get something right from the process of thinking. This is very important. Now, if somebody is already automatic at it, we're fine with that. But if you're going to be teaching, you need to be able to help the student think visibly. Highlight the direct quote in green and circle the subject of the quote and underline the reporter or reporters. Ask yourself, what does the subject of the quote refer to? Then draw arrows from the direct quote sentence to the reported speech sentence to show the changes that you have made. Again, when the students have finished doing this by themselves, then we can tell them to check their answer on the next slide or talk to each other. But if in a classroom situation or an online situation where we go around asking one person after another about the same thing, yes, we are giving one student the benefit of a feedback, but the rest of the class is not actively involved. So it's much better to have the students talk to each other, or it's better for us to check the visible markings that the student made so that we can see how they're thinking. And it's also better to have the students check what they can see and compare it to what they have done. So let's check. Are the children at school? Khalid asked his wife. Exact words Khalid asked, are the children at school? What's the subject of the direct question here? The children. So the children is the who part of the quote. The word children does not refer to Khalid or his wife. So the children refers to someone other. Notice we have 3 who's here. We have Khalid, his wife, and the children. So if we ask who, just like that, we can get the children, we can get Khalid, and we can get his wife. But does the word children refer to Khalid and his wife or another party? So we have 3 parties here. Khalid is 1, his wife is 2, the third is the children, who are not involved in the speaking and the listening. Let's change that to reported speech. Khalid asked his wife whether, and remember we can say if, the children were, so the R has been changed to were, at school. Now we're going to give them another one. And again, we're going to cut this short so that the students can do it alone. You can pause the video here, or you can use the PowerPoint in the link below the video to access the PowerPoint that is without narration and that you can advance or back at your own convenience. So do you ride a motorbike? Abdullah asked Ahmed. Again, after they finish, we check it. Exact words, do you ride a motorbike? Who? So we have 3 who's here, the you, Abdullah, and Ahmed. But do you ride a motorbike? So what does the word you refer to? Abdullah is the reporter. You refers to Ahmed. So Abdullah is asking Ahmed. So Ahmed is the you. Let's change that to reported speech. Abdullah asked Ahmed if he, what do you think? Now, remember, asked is in the past. Do you ride or do ride is in the present. If he rode a motorbike. And this is the final one. Did you wash your hands before dinner? Maha asked her children. One of the techniques and strategies we're using here is not only do we want just the functional language, but we also want reminders of social life, like, for example, keeping your surroundings clean, practicing proper hygiene. So you don't make the whole lesson about that, but you can insert some of these sentences and questions like, did you wash your hands before dinner? Maha asked her children. Now, once we ask this often enough, it becomes a habit with the kids to wash their hands before they come to dinner and eat, or lunch or breakfast, whatever it is. Again, we check the answers, exact words. Did you wash your hands before dinner? And we have three who's here. We have you, and did you wash your hands? And we have Maha, and we have her children. So what does the word you, the who, refers to? It refers to the children, because Maha is talking to the children. She is asking her children. So we have two parties here, Maha and her children. And Maha is the reporter. So she is speaking, and she's speaking to her children or asking her children. Now let's change that to reported speech. Maha asked her children if, remember that they refers to the children now, so it has changed in the reported speech. We are talking about Maha and her children, so now we have a third reporter. It's us, it's the person writing the sentence. So we're not talking to Maha, we're not talking to her children, we're talking about them. That's why we said Maha asked her children if they. Now notice what happened to washed. Since did wash is in the past, it has to move one step back to the past perfect. So did you, so in the sequence of time, present moves to past and past moves to past perfect. Did wash is in the past, so we just explained that. We need to sequence it to had washed in the past perfect. There will be other lessons on this. There refers to the children. So if we're talking about Maha asking her children, so the children, if they had washed whose hands? Their hands, the children's hands, before dinner. Now we come to the end where we need to connect the learning experience. And in this case, we are focusing on the structure. Notice what has happened in part 1 out of 6, part 2 out of 6, and this is part 3 out of 6. If the student cannot get this part right, they cannot do the full sentence by themselves right. And another thing I'd like to underscore and emphasize, if you want to give a short test or a quiz, you gotta do it the same way exactly, but with new questions, new people, but the structure, new words, I'm sorry, and the structure has to be changed to be reported speech. So, do you like to watch football? Hussein asked me. Hussein asked me, blank, 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 to watch football. Second one, do you want French fries? Maha asked her children. Maha asked her children, blank, 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 French fries. And did you buy a new house? We asked Mariam. We asked Mariam, 4 blanks, a new house. If we had done lesson 1 out of 6 and 2 out of 6 correctly, and this one, we gave the kids the opportunity, we gave them the correct feedback, the chances that they will get these right goes up significantly higher. Of course, we have to assume that if they read the word watch, they understand what it means, and they understand that do you like to watch football is a direct question. So we always have to assume that a lesson is going to start at a point that is connected to points learned before. Hence the reason we said incremental experiences that are connected. Let's do the second one, and then we'll check the answers. So here where we ask them to rewrite the whole thing. And honestly, once we reach this, we know that the students have learned. One important factor that I need to emphasize here: you can never study for this exam. You need to learn for the exam. And that is the message I would like to send out to all my fellow educators. We have the tendency to always believe that the students must study for an exam. And some students, some teachers, maybe quite a few, or we don't have the exact number, they tell the students what to study for the exam. An exam that you need to study for is the wrong exam. And I'm willing to debate anybody with that, because it sends the message that, well, we can waste some time in the classroom because just before the exam, you're going to tell me what I need to focus on and study for the exam so I can pass the exam. We don't want to study to pass an exam. We want to learn, and an exam shows what we have learned. I'd like us to remember that. So, do you deserve praise? Ahmed asked me. Let them write. Are you on time every day? Abdullah asked his employees. Did Mariam reach her new house? I asked my sister. And in these lessons, if you notice, I've been using the same names and the same topic. This is another important thing. Our human minds are cluttered with information on a daily basis. By using familiar words and names, we don't have to spend too much time trying to make sense of that. The focus is trying to make sense of what we're learning. Now, once this is mastered, then we can put new topics, hence exams. Let's check our answers. Do you like to watch football? Hussein asked me. Hussein asked me if I liked. Do you want French fries? Maha asked her children. Maha asked her children if they wanted French fries. Did you buy a new house? We asked Mariam. We asked Mariam if she, now notice, because did buy is in the past, we have to move it to the past perfect, if she had bought a new house. And here in the rewriting or writing the whole sentence, Ahmed asked me if I deserve praise. Are you on time every day? Abdullah asked his employees if they were on time every day. Did Mariam reach her new house? I asked my sister if Mariam had reached her new house. Now, we don't have enough context to decide whether each one is formal or not, so if they use if or whether is not an issue. I would like to thank everybody for participating. Lesson 4 out of 6 will be coming out very soon. And this is the table to help you understand what we're doing. And if you would like to contact us, please feel free to do so.